الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. وقال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلقها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا من النساء واتقوا الله الذي تسألون به والرحمة إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطيع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. فإن أصدق الحديث في كتاب الله تعالى وحسن الهدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. All praise and gratitude is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek His help and His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil within our own selves and from the evil consequences of our deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides, there is none to misguide. And whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides or allows to be in error, then there is no guidance for them. I bear witness there is no God save Allah alone, who is one and has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his servant and his messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is revealed in this book, which could be written into English as, O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared and do not die except as Muslims in submission to Him. And again He says, O mankind, fear your Lord who created you from one soul and created from it its mate and dispersed from both of them many men and women. And fear Allah to whom you demand your mutual rights of one another and reverence the wombs that bore you. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ever watching over you. And He says, O you who believe, fear Allah and speak words of appropriate justice. He will then amend for you your deeds and forgive you your sins. And whoever obeys Allah and His messenger, he has certainly already attained a great success. You should know that the most truthful speech is the Book of Allah, and the best guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the worst affairs are newly invented matters. And every newly invented matter is religious innovation. And every religious innovation is misguidance. And every misguidance is in the hell fire. Some of the scholars like to make mention to one to understand the difference in innovation and deviation. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. Last week we went over some of the rules and regulations concerning the Jumu'ah prayer. So inshallah, I'd like to kind of keep that theme going with making salat in the masjid. Relative to that, just a few verses relative to the masjid, where Allah says, now just read the English, my Lord has commanded justice, and that you set your whole selves to him at every time and place of prayer, and call upon him, making your devotion sincere as in his sight, such as he created you in the beginning, so shall you return. And another verse he says in Surah Al-Tawbah, the mosque of Allah shall be visited and maintained by such as believe in Allah on the last day, establish regular prayers, and practice regular charity, and fear none at all except Allah. It is they who are expected to be on true guidance, and this is the 18th verse of Surah Al-Tawbah. And in the first verse of Surah Al-Asr, he says, glory to Allah, who did take his servant for a journey by night from the sacred mosque to the furthest mosque, whose precincts we did bless, in order that we may show him some of our signs, for he is the one who heareth and sees all things. So inshallah, as I mentioned, I'm going to give, inshallah, or present to us reasons, or at least 7 reasons, why you should pray in the masjid. This heading is headed up by saying, the wise will take heed. First, number 1, praying in congregation is better than praying individually. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, prayer in congregation is superior to prayer alone by 27 degrees. And this is in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari and Muslim. And Umar, who said, in another narration, praying in congregation is 25 times greater than praying alone. So inshallah, that's 25 to 27 times, praying with someone. Inshallah, in this case, we're talking specifically about praying in Jumu'ah, in the mosque. Number 2, it fosters unity. That is, praying in Jumu'ah, in the mosque. It fosters unity. This can help the love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grow. And it can also help, and Allah knows best, about having our faith grow. It also creates a brotherhood. And I can definitely bear witness to this, and many of us sitting here can bear witness to this particular act, especially when we know that the masjid was open 24 hours a day, and people were praying in the mosque 5 times a day, to the extent that some of us that were doing that then are still doing it now, 40 years plus later. It also could become a test. That is to say, there are sometimes matters that Shaitan whispers to us to keep us from getting to the masjid. However, the Prophet ﷺ said, when you see a man frequenting the mosque, testify that he is a believer, because Allah says that Allah's mosques are visited only by those who believe in Allah and the last day. And this tradition is from Tamil. Number 4, glad tidings are for the one who goes to the masjid for Fajr and Isha prayers. Since we've been here since 1984, and in fact prior to that, there's always been a call to establish Fajr and Isha in the masjid. Alhamdulillah, the Muwaddin here is here by Allah's permission. He calls the adhan on time, and about 20 minutes later he's calling the Iqamah, and Salat is being made in congregation, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best knower. The Prophet said, convey glad tidings to those who walk through the mosque in the darkness, for they will be given full light on the day of resurrection. And this is from Abu Dawood. Another reason is the steps you take to the masjid raises you in rank. Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, "He who purifies himself in his house and then walks to one of the houses of Allah, the mosque, for performing an obligatory salah, one step of his will wipe out his sins, and the other step will elevate his rank in Jannah." And this is in the Sahih of Muslim. Speaking of Jannah, Jannah is given to the one who goes to the masjid in the morning and the evening. For Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, "He who goes to the mosque in the morning or in the evening, Allah prepares for him a place in Jannah whenever he goes to the mosque in the morning and returns from it in the evening." And finally, the greatest reward is for the one who lives the furthest from the mosque. Abu Musa reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, "The person who will receive the highest reward for salah or prayer is the one who comes to perform it in the mosque from the farthest distance. And he who waits for salah to perform it with the imam in congregation will have a greater reward than the one who observes it alone at home and then goes back to sleep." And this is in the Sahih of Bukhari and Muslims. So, inshallah, these are 7 good points that, inshallah, can motivate us to come to the masjid, inshallah, making congregation in the mosque. But before I sit down, I just want to read a tradition that I think many of us in our early years really we really like to pay attention to it, and that is this. The Prophet ﷺ said, "I had considered ordering for the prayer to be established, and then I would order every man to pray and set loose men who have with them logs of wood upon a people who did not come to the prayer, and I would burn their houses with fire." And in another narration, it says that were not for the children and the women that he would burn the houses with fire. That tradition played very hard on our hearts, and many of us found ourselves moving from where we lived to where the masjid was established. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah is most great. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. This is the saying of mine. His mistakes are on me, and I ask Allah's forgiveness for me and for you and for the rest of the Muslims. So you too, ask Allah Ta'ala for forgiveness, for He is the forgiver, the merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad كاتب أنبيائه ومرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Lord of all the worlds. And may His peace and blessings be upon this messenger and our prophet, the last and the seal of the prophets and the sent ones from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May His peace and blessing be upon the prophet's family, his companions, their companions, and all of those who follow close behind to the day of judgment. The ayat that we are so familiar with says, "Quit business and hasten to the remembrance of Allah." Inshallah, in that respect, I'd just like to read some things on the excellence of the tasbih, the ta'meed, the talil, the takbir, and certain other supplications. Abu Hurairah reported the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, there are two phrases that are light on the tongue, but heavy on the scale of rewards, and are dear to Allah. These are, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, glory is to Allah and praise to Him, and Subhanallah al-Azim, glorified is Allah the Great. This is the traditions of Imam Muslim, Bukhari, and Tirmidhi. Abu Dhar reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, shall I tell you the words that Allah loves the most? And I said, yes, tell me, the message of Allah. He said, the words most dear to Allah are, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, glorified is Allah with all praise due to Him. And this is narrated by Muslim and Tirmidhi. And in another version in Tirmidhi, we also find the following words. The words most dear to Allah, which He has chosen for His angels, are Subhana Rabbi bihamdi, Subhana Rabbi bihamdi. Glorified is my Lord with all praise due to Him. Jabir reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever says Subhanallah al-Azim wa bihamdi, glorified is Allah the Great, with all praise due to Him, will have a palm tree planted for him in paradise. And this too is in the Sahih of Tirmidhi, and he considers it a very sound hadith. And Abu Sa'id reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, perform the enduring good deeds more frequently. And they asked, what are these enduring deeds? The Prophet, peace be upon him, replied, at-takbir, saying Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. At-talib, saying La ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. At-tasbih, saying Subhanallah, meaning exalted and far removed is Allah from any weakness. And Alhamdulillah, this means all praise belongs to Allah alone. And La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power, no authority except with the permission of Allah. And this also is reported in the Sahih of An-Nisi and Al-Hakim, who considered this chain of authorities as very sound. Samura ibn Junayd reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the dearest phrases to Allah are four. Subhanallah, glorified is Allah. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah. Wa la ilaha illallah, there is no God but Allah. And Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. There is no harm in beginning them in any order you choose while remembering Allah. And this is in the Sahih of Muslim. Abu Sa'id reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, asked, can any one of you recite a third of the Quran during the night? The companions considered this rather difficult, and they said, who among us can do this, O Prophet of Allah? And thereupon the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, say, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Surah Al-Ikhlas. Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever says La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahu mulku wa lahu alhamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir 100 times during a day will have a reward equivalent to the reward of freeing 10 slaves. Besides, 100 good deeds will be recorded for him, and 100 bad deeds of his will be wiped off. And it will be a safeguard for him from Shaitan that day until evening. And no one will be better in deeds than such a person, except he who does more than that. In another animation, this version, it reads, and whoever says Subhanallah wa bihamdi 100 times during the day will have all his sins wiped off, even if they are numerous as the foam on the surface of the sea. SubhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, most great. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to get something from what He, His messenger, has said that we can benefit from. And Allah is the Lord and the best of all. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabiyyi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin biyadadi min salli wa sam. Wa Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin biyadadi min fa'adi wa qam. وصل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى كل ملائكته المقربين على عباد الله الصالحين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عبادي الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. ولا ذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأعز وأجل وأتم وأهم وأكبر. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his angels sends blessings on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. All you who believe, send blessings on him also. Hence we say, O Allah, send as many blessings on Muhammad and his family as the number of standing and sitting in prayer by all of his followers. O Allah, send thy blessings on all the prophets, distinguished angels, and the righteous servants of yours, and cover them up with thy mercy and kindness, for thou art the most beneficent, the merciful. O servants of Allah, Allah has certainly commanded you to be just and kind towards the affairs of men and to render assistance to your kinsmen. And Allah has forbidden you all kinds of sins and shameful acts. He has given you a clear warning that you may take heed and tread the right path. And the remembrance of Allah is the greatest of all actions. He is the superior, the elevated, glorious, the honored, the faultless, and the magnificent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Akbar, to that there is no doubt. Coming to Surah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya as-salat, hayya as-salat, wa taqamat as-salat, wa taqamat as-salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Now, among the things that we read last week was that Rasulullah highly recommended making the road straight and tight. He highly recommended making roads straight and tight. He also made a statement that could be applicable, and that is those who are foremost in the faith should stand closest to him. So, inshallah. And also those who are below puberty, that is to say that you are not at puberty, please put yourself either on the end of a row or form a rank by yourself in the back, inshallah. This is because if you're not at puberty, your reward, your actions are not recorded. You're not getting punished for your actions. However, if you stand between two men and you're not being recorded, your action, what you've done is broken the ranks. So if you're below puberty, then put yourself either on the end of a rank or go in the back and make a rank for yourselves. And Allah knows best about all things. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. سبح لله ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير هو أول وآخر وظاهر وباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Sound brothers, could you remain just for a few minutes? I have a special announcement I need to make, and everybody need to hear it, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammad shafi'ul mursalin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah. I'm sure most of the brothers and sisters have heard about the tragedy that took place in New Zealand, where I think it was around 47 Muslims.
49.
It was 49?
Yeah, 49.
Okay, well, 49 they updated to 49 Muslims was murdered in New Zealand by a terrorist group. You know, it's really nothing new that's taking place in the Muslim community around the world. It's just that this tragedy struck here, and you know, it always brings focus to, you know, us being careful in existence in any society, because we are always targeted and isolated. It's not that Muslims are not being murdered around the world. See, they want us to concentrate on what's happening in New Zealand, but there's Muslims being murdered all over the world. In Palestine, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen. I mean, you know, anywhere you look at a Muslim population is under attack by enemies of Islam. So we need to always be vigilant in our demeanor, especially when we live in a society that's not Islamic. We never know who our enemies are. We never know who, you know, is being who we're being instigated against us. You know, so we just need to be careful. These people want everybody to give some kind of statement about what happened in New Zealand. You know, I'm really not inclined to say anything other than may Allah forgive the sins of the Muslims who died there, and may Allah punish those that conspired against them and murdered them. You know, but other than that, it's you know, we're being targeted all over the world, and it ain't like we're safe here. See, a lot of us think we're safe here in America. We're not safe here in America. Anything can happen anytime, anywhere. So we always have to be vigilant. We always have to be conscious of our brothers and our sisters, and we have to make dua for ourselves, that Allah protect us, inshallah. So I just wanted to say that, you know, because it's a big deal now, and everybody wants us to make some kind of public relations statement about what happened. And what happened is Muslims are targeted in the world because they are the righteous. And the righteous have always been targeted by unbelievers in the world. That's the bottom line. So we just have to make dua for our brothers and sisters in New Zealand. Ask Allah to protect them and to protect us. Forgive us, forgive them, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.